Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Brand new dude here. I have a new replay. Here we are going up against Mitsurugi pure build 43 versus 56. Still playing the same branded deck list that I played at OTS. If you want to see what the deck list looks like, I will share a link to the video here up on the screen. But let's see how we do. Branded versus Mitsurugi. So here in the rock paper scissors, our opponent won and he chose to go first. You'll see in our opening hands we open Thrust, High Spreads, Sarania, Tragedy, Branded Red. Sarania and High Spreads in hand, that is pretty good for us. This is going to enable us to get access to Branded Fusion. Branded Red can be helpful if we have a Despia or Albaz in graveyard to dodge Imperm or Veiler. Opponent opens the Habakiri, 2 Nibirus, a 4-loss and an Ash Blossom. So Habakiri is his only form of play right here. Luckily for him, we don't play Ash Blossom. So he's going to start off with Habakiri, tributing Saji. Saji here will get him Mitsurugi Ritual, which will help start off his plays. So he's going to summon Habakiri from hand, tributing Aramasa and Kusanagi, which will both trigger. So he's going to add back the Ritual, and he's going to add another copy of Habakiri from deck to hand. And now here, I believe he is going to go Ritual again, this time to summon from the deck, the Murakumo, tributing the Habakiri on the field, which will trigger to get him a search. So he's going to reborn it as well, and then here he searches for prayers. I believe here he's going to activate prayers. No, normal summon 4-loss, link off into closed moon. So here he's going to be able. Oh yes, it was Mitsurugi Fiendsmith. So access his Fiendsmith engine. So yeah, we all know here he's trying to get access to Wave High King Caesar. So here on Requiem to equip, I decide to go Serenia because obviously since he doesn't have any graveyard on the field, he needs to go into Necroquip in order to fully go into Wave High King Caesar. So we go Serenia on the Requiem. Opponent here does trigger the Murakumo, so we discard Tragedy and then resolve Serenia. But since Tragedy was discarded because of a card effect, I believe we do get to trigger this because yeah, it is being discarded because of a card effect. So get a search, we search for a Luba, and now here our opponent is going to go Engraver, shuffle back Moon, and then here I believe he's going to go into SP. I think I'm not exactly sure what he does with the Fiendsmith engine. Actually goes into IP instead. It sets the prayers and will proceed to end his turn. So we have to deal with IP, Murakumo, which will force a card out of our hand, as well as a Raigeki, a Nibiru, and Ash Blossom. There is Lacrima, which will set up the Fiendsmith in Paradise trap card. So yeah, I think that's about 5 interruptions to deal with. Sure, prayers, it's not really, it's just gonna get Murakumo to be able to use its Raigeki effect. So this is the end board. Opponent passes turn, we draw into another copy of Thrust. Unfortunately, yeah, we can't use High Spread, so we're just gonna have to normal summon a Luba. Luckily for us, we have Branded Red in hand, so if our opponent were to activate Veiler or something, we can go Branded Red chain just to hopefully dodge it. Summon a Luba effect, opponent chains the Murakumo, we would discard the High Spirits. Search for Branded Fusion. Now here, I obviously knew, listen, opponent just set 1 card, and he has 4 cards in hand. There's a very good chance, literally 2 or 3, like at least 2 of these cards should be hand traps, including Ash Blossom. So here I decided to try into battle phase, trying to force out IP so that Thrust could become live. But battle phase is entered. We attack with Serenia. Proceed to main phase 2. Activate Brand Fusion. Gets hit with Ash. Go Thrust. Here we'll search for talents because we just want to draw 2 cards to see if we can do a little bit more plays. Draw into 4-loss and Shrouded. Good for us. We use Shrouded here. We send Branded Retribution because I do believe I was going to use Branded Red this turn, most probably going to Chimera, either just hopefully draw more cards. That's why Branded Retribution can banish it, and then we can set back the Branded in red. Because remember, now if Tragedy ends up getting banished, we will be able to add another Despia monster, and I was betting on the fact that opponent would use Murakumo during his turn to force a discard, so that way that Despia monster we had of Tragedy could end up being discarded. We draw into Super Poly of Shrouded, which is pretty good because Super Poly is pretty good against the Mitsurugi. Activate Branded in red, target Tragedy, and here I decide to go for Chimera, but here I decide to go into Chimera where we draw 1 and pop 2. I guess maybe I should just rather banish 1 card from the field and 2 from hand. That's where we can maximize on the draw there. But I decided I was trying to get rid of these 2 monsters. I mean, sorry, both my opponent's cards remaining on the field at the moment. So we go this way, 1 Chimera, 2 Tragedy. Opponent goes chaining 3 prayers, tributing the Murakumo, searches for Aramasa. Here we search for Adlib of Despia because we're already normal summon. We draw into 4-loss. And then yeah, here my opponent was just talking about how with Chimera, it says here you can draw cards equal to the number of cards used as material from hand, and if you do, emphasis is on and if you do, destroy cards your opponent controls equal to the number of cards used from the field. Opponent thought that because he didn't have like 2 cards for Chimera to pop, I can't even draw. But yeah, since it's the and if you do effect, I'm allowed to resolve A, or part A, which is basically the draw, and if B doesn't end up being resolved, that doesn't really matter. I can still draw my cards because it's an and if you do effect, which is a simultaneous effect. So yeah, you can do A, and if you can't do A, I believe you can't do B, but B doesn't require you to have fulfilled A. So hopefully you guys understood that. But yeah, anyways, skipping all of that, on res Murakumo will activate where he searches for prayers, and he will be able to reborn, which will trigger its Raigeki effect. Totally fine, we don't have opening, but you know, clears up our board. But obviously we're going to have to set super poly here, hopefully for something, and we are going to go retribution as I planned, setting itself so that way we have a target. Well, we don't have a target yet because now we have super poly, so that's going to guarantee us getting this into the graveyard. Go to end phase, high spirits just add itself to hand, so we have more discard fodder. And we'll pass turn. Opponent draws Ash Blossom for turn, but he has still Mitsurugi plays to do, as well as Fiendsmith Engine. Starts off with prayers, tributing Murakumo to summon Kusanagi, and then here he's going to search for Habikiri. Kusanagi and Murakumo will both trigger. So Kusanagi adds back the ritual, and then Murakumo summon itself, and he will add a prayers from... Wait, did he add a prayers from grave? Hold up, but this one says add. Okay, I'm not sure if he added. Yeah, added from deck. Sorry. Normal summon Aramasa, no effect here. Overlay is going to Excite on Night. Now here, my opponent thought that I had more cards than him, but Excite on Night does say if your opponent has more total cards in the hand and field than you do. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. Opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, already 7 in his hand. So yeah, he can't use Excite on Night there. So yeah, he does realize that, but it's totally fine because now that does give him access to his Fiendsmith Engine. Requiem, summon Engraver. Engraver attempt to reborn itself, totally fine, and then he overlays into Caesar. I knew for a fact he was going to Caesar, but you know, I decided, you know what, it's totally fine. Super Poly, he can't stop Super Poly with Caesar, but obviously that depends on whether we have a way to use Caesar as fusion material. Nothing on there, so he activates Ritual to summon from hand a Habikiri. Triggers the Habikiri engrave to get a search. Searches for another copy of Murakumo. So I do believe that's his second copy. Yeah, that's his second copy of Murakumo. And 3 copies of Habikiri already out of the deck. So enters battle phase. On attack declaration of Caesar, we go Super Poly, using both his rituals to go into Garura. That's where we can reduce the amount of damage he will take this turn. Attacks Garura, which will trigger its effect to draw, and here we draw into another copy of Super Poly. Pretty good if you want to break my opponent's board. Opponent sets the prayers, and I do believe he passes his turn. So we have Caesar, we have prayers. I guess what is this going to do? Basically, we can just tribute this in hand, maybe reborn one of his rituals from the graveyard, Nibiru and Ash Blossom to deal with, as well as Fiendsmith in Paradise because he has Lacrima. So we draw for turn, we draw Perulia, but in draw phase we got High Spirits. Luckily no Ash here from the opponent, so we send the Fualos, Renbrum, search for Owlbears because we have Super Poly. We're not going to play any games here, keep it straight to the point. Set Owlbears, activate Poly, discard the Perulia, go into Merjade. And then here I believe we attempt to go to battle phase. Our opponent then goes Lacrima. He is going to go, yeah, okay, I think in battle phase. No, yeah, he has to do it because Requiem is only during the main phase. So Lacrima effect, Requiem, summon itself, cool, fine. Lacrima to down Fiendsmith in Paradise, which now is a further interruption to deal with now. We enter battle phase, and now here I decide to go Merjade because I want to deal damage. So we go Merjade, banish the Lacrima, attack for 3k. Now here's the thing, my opponent's on 2500 attack. We have Adlep Engrave. I have Branded Red, so I made a misplay here where I forgot not to activate Branded Red during the battle phase. She went Branded Red, target Adlep, was probably going to, I guess we could go into Dragos Tepelia, then reborn and merge it, but even though opponent has Fiendsmith in Paradise, he's only going to be able to get rid of one monster, and honestly, whatever we summon could potentially go for game, unless, let me see, Mitsurugi Prayers does say when you activate you can tribute a retro from hand or field, and then apply one of these effects. If you tribute to a monster at activation, yeah, okay, he will be able to summon a body onto the field. So yeah, we couldn't really go for game here ultimately, I believe, with prayers there still. So yeah, go to main phase 2, thrust, opponent activates Ash Blossom. We attempt to go to end phase because we have nothing further to do. Opponent, I think he doesn't do anything. I don't think he activates prayers. Oh no, I lied, he does. Tributing Murukumo, reborn the Murukumo from the graveyard, and then this will trigger both of the effects, one in grave, one in field. So he's going to pop out Mirror Jade, search for Ritual. But here I decide not to go Mirror Jade effect. Now the reason why is because if you go Mirror Jade effect, he can go Murukumo. This ends up being discarded if I choose to. So my plan was, don't trigger Mirror Jade. We have Albaz, we have Rinbroom. So the whole plan here is also we have Brand Red. So whole plan is, if I'm going to trigger Rinbroom during my opponent's turn, I need a card to discard so that it can resolve if Murukumo is still there on the field. And then once Albaz is on the field, obviously we can't use Albaz effect to fusion, but we have a material to use Brandon Red to do a fusion summon there. So that was the plan. We got Albion. Now here I was seeing if my opponent maybe had, actually no, nothing else there. I just forgot, like, yeah. Once I triggered Albion, I realized, yeah, this was actually the plan. Save the full loss, don't let it be discarded. So yeah, we don't resolve Albion, we pass turn. Opponent draws into Fiendsmith Sanct. Main phase, I believe he started with Ritual. I'm not exactly sure, we'll see. Oh, it started with Engraver. Shuffling back Requiem, summon itself. And then here he's going to link off, going to Requiem effect to summon. He only plays one copy of Lacrima. Requiem to equip. Enters battle phase, deals 1800 boosted by 600 because of the link. So we take 2400 there. Yeah, on attack of the declaration of Murukumo, we do go Rinbroom. And now here opponent will chain Murukumo, so we discard because we need this to resolve. Summon Albaz, declares attack again, and then this time we activate Brand Red, target Adlib. Here we are going into the Quiritus, and then Adlib will trigger to reborn Mirror Jade. And then Mirror Jade on summon, we are going to banish the Murukumo, sending Titan Clad, so hopefully we can get Quem into end phase. Opponent goes to main phase 2, and then here I believe he activates Sanct. Yeah, he does activate Sanct. Summon a body onto his field, and now he can go link off into Sequence effect here. So he's going to be able to bring out Desiree. Desiree links off into Agnum Day, so chain link 1 Desiree. And here he decides to use Desiree to send Quiritus. Honestly, he should have sent Mirror Jade there because Mirror Jade is not going to do anything to him. But he triggers our Quiritus, luckily for us. Summon Aluba here. With Aluba, we search for Brandon in white because we do have, well, we're not going to have Albaz Grey, but, Titan can add as Albaz in the end phase. So we search for that. Obviously, we only play one copy of Red and one Fusion because it's limited to 1. Agnum Day, reborn the Desiree, passes turn, end phase, High Spirits will add itself to hand, and Titan Clad will trigger. Here we decide to add Albaz to our hand. We go into our draw phase where we draw into Fusion Deployment. Cool. Activate Fusion Deployment. Nothing here. We summon Cartesia. Finally, Cartesia gets to enter the game. Go Cartesia effect here. Decide to go into Grand Gugno. Grand Gugno effect here. I believe I send Rebellion. Go Brandon White, which I was hoping my opponent would negate this, which he does successfully. Negates all 3 cards on the field. Normal summon Albaz effect. Use Desiree. Obviously, it's going to trigger Desiree, but we're still going to keep playing. Going to Albion 1, Desiree 2. Sorry. Send Mirror Jade, and then with Albion, we do end up going to Dragos Depelia because I believe we just had in our extra deck. I had Rebellion, Lad, Proskinion, Chaos Star Source, and something. Another copy of Grand Gugno. Unfortunately, here, as we tried to enter battle phase, we did summon 5 times, so our opponent is going to go Nibiru. But luckily for us, at least we'll get something off here on the resolution of Nibiru. Grand Gugno will trigger. Here we will summon the Quem. I don't try to go for... Oh yeah, so here's the thing. I do believe that's at 1, 2. So he has the trap card in the grave because this trap can say send 1 Fiendsmith from deck or grave. Yeah. So I was thinking if the trap card wasn't here, with this Grand Gugno, we could summon Proskinion. Proskinion attack into Nibiru and then trigger Proskinion to burn our opponent for 3k for game. But if we summon Proskinion, opponent will 100% use Fiendsmith Paradise and get rid of our Priscinion. So I decided, okay, we'll just summon Quem from the deck instead. No Paradise here, but Quem will resolve to send Kit. Reason why is because we kind of running out of our Owlbear's fusion, so I need to find a way to add Retribution back into our control. Albion effect here we set Brand Banishment, and then we're gonna go Cartesia to add itself to hand. And no, okay, yeah, we do add High Spirits. Did we use High Spirits? No, we didn't. So yeah, cool. And we passed it. Opponent draws into Engraver. So let's see how many Engravers. So there's one there, and okay, so he has one Engraver in his deck. So the trap card is still alive. Starts with Engraver, where he's going to search for Tract. Activate Tract, where he's going to basically summon Lurry in the end. So yeah, trigger Lurry, summon Lurry, and then links off into that, where Chainlink 1 will be Quem, and then here I think yeah, he goes Chainlink to Requiem, summon the last copy of Engraver, and then we decide to go for Kit because yeah, we need that Retribution back into our deck. So we add it and we put itself back into the deck. This is Banishment. On here, our opponent is going to go Engrave to put back the Desiree, summon second copy of Engraver. Here it links off into Sequence, and here I decide, okay, cool, yeah, we're going to stop this, go Banishment, summon Mergeade. Now the thing with Mergeade is the only last fusion we can send, I believe, is yeah, Dubellion. Running out of fusions here, so we need a Retribution to be back here to recycle whatever Owlbear's fusion in the graveyard. But with Banishment, we are going to fusion away Quem, the Sequence, as well as Kit to go into Priscinion. And now with Priscinion, we will be able to just, well, I guess the only thing we can steal, DD Wave Hacking Caesar, nothing useful there, but yeah, our opponent does end up scooping here. Cool. Long game 1, so we end up taking that. Hopping into game number 2, our opponent is going first. You'll see we open Thrust, Full Loss, Retribution, Talents, and Shrouded. Opponent opens Imperm, Thrust, Saji, Sanct, and Engraver. So he's starting first. We don't drop the Full Loss yet because I need to know when we can get a guaranteed draw. Starts with Engraver, and now he's going to start off with his Fiendsmith engine. Summon Lurry. I don't draw Full Loss here. I decide let him link, and then on Requiem Effect here, I decide to draw Full Loss. No Ash Blossom, so we're going to get a draw. Summon Lacrima, and here we draw into High Spirits. Lacrima effect to dump. Yeah, Lacrima effect to dump, and then he's going to go Engraver effect, put back Lurry. He's then going to go Requiem to equip. Go into Necro Equip, where we draw into Super Poly, pretty good. Activate Thrust here, where he's going to set Different Dimension Ground, which is pretty interesting. Does it affect us tremendously? No, can't stop our fusion effects in the end phase though. But yeah, I guess I thought he was going to go set the D barrier, but I guess he's not playing D barrier at all. Overlay into Caesar, where we draw into another High Spirits. Set the Imperm and pass. So we draw for turn, we draw a second copy of Super Poly. So here, yeah, we have quite a number of spells. So first I decided to go with Albion, sending Branded Fusion because we have Retribution in Graveyard. Here, no effect from our opponent. Then I decide to go High Spirits, Chainlink 2, opponent chains Different Dimension Ground. Now the thing is, remember, Different Dimension Ground says any monster sent to grave is banished. High Spirits must send to grave for its effect, so yeah, we can't resolve High Spirits. So we draw, and we draw into Owlbears. This is such a good draw because we have Super Poly. So we don't waste any time, set Super Poly. Here I decide, because we're under Different Dimension Ground, we're just going to set everything and not try to fusion summon during our turn. So we set Super Poly, set Owlbear, sorry, Retribution, because you know, if you have a fusion we can use it to negate something. Super Poly, we just put both Super Polys because with Super Poly we can use Owlbears to go into Mergeade. The second one can go into Garura preferably. So proceed to end phase Lacrima effect, summon Requiem, and he will shuffle back the Lacrima. Draw for turn, he draws into the Murokumo. Still no access, yeah, he has no access to his, oh okay, well there is Saji, never mind, forget it. Requiem effect in main phase, summon Lacrima. Lacrima here will send an Engraver. I believe here he's going, yeah, go Engraver, shuffle back another copy of itself. And then he's going to go Requiem effect. No, okay, he will link off into Sequence. Here I decide, okay, because you're already Engraver, we're all going to go Super Poly, use Owlbears and Sequence to go into Mergeade, so that he doesn't get to trigger, use Sequence effective fusion. Here, I believe my opponent will normal summon, normal summon Saji effect here, search for a ritual. So now here on the ritual, on res, I decide, okay, before he activates ritual, and I will try to negate it with Retribution. Let me use Mergeade, send Albion, and here we're going to attempt to banish Caesar but opponent is going to chain Imperm. I could have went Super Poly, used these two to go into Predator Plant, but I decided, you know what, it's totally fine. I would save that Super Poly in case we need it later against, you know, if he has rituals on the field. Activates ritual, we negate with retribution. And then here my opponent is going to attempt to enter battle phase, attack for 1000, and then attack for 28. We will take that damage, but it's fine because we do, yeah, we kind of will be in a good position here. Retribution's in the graveyard, so we'll be able to add Brand Fusion during our turn. Bone passes turn, end phase Albion effect here. Here with Albion we are going to add Branded Lost because Caesar's on the field, and High Spirit will add itself to hand as well. So now we're going to start off with 5 cards for our turn. Join to add lip, totally fine, that's just discard. So we're going to go main phase 1, activate Retribution, add back Brand Fusion, activate Lost, activate Brand Fusion, opponent chains the Caesar. Let's see, yeah, nope, nothing really there. I guess he's just trying to use Caesar to put something in the graveyard, but yeah, obviously this doesn't negate Lost because Caesar negates activation. Lost prevents that. Send Albaz and Rebellion to go into Albion. Albion 1, Branded Lost 2, and yeah, opponent ends up leaving there, so we end up winning this duel against the Mitsurugi Fiendsmith. So yeah, there was a pretty long game 1. We could actually, yeah, there was a good chance we couldn't go for game there, but yeah, we ended up winning this. So yeah, as you've seen here, Super Poly is pretty good against Mitsurugi specifically. Go, I guess, yeah, if Super Poly, you can go into Garura. Starving Venom is also a good option if you're playing that as well, but also breaking boards with Super Poly is pretty insane for Branded. And yeah, pretty happy with this build. You know, we didn't break, so a little bit of consistency, and we managed to win this duel. So yeah guys, that was the game. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers guys.